Shalom. First, once I call Allah Limla, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Vashem Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Stone, and shalom to the Akim pushing this word in sincerity and truth. To the Akim and Akwat out there that call upon the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Blessings to you as well, and much peace, love, and blessings to the elect of Israel. Alright, so just like a jump right into the video.
Teef, seasoning. Fuck side. This is serious. This is serious. It's a 30.
Okay, so just to provide some context to the video, as I can see, basically somebody was caught stealing. Now in the video there's two women, stand up, basically stand up in the video. I'm not sure if it's both of them that were caught stealing, but as I can see, the items were thrown from a handbag, which obviously it was almost one of the women them, but the whole purpose of doing this lesson, is for sure say this is something that's going to happen all over the world, including out here in Jamaica. Now, whatever reason, it don't really matter whatever reason them steal what them steal for now. Whether it won't be that maybe them jobless, or maybe them just don't want for work, or them just not have it, them not make a certain amount of money, as a matter of fact, the other day the so-called raised minimum wage, but when I really look into it, it never really it's as if it was never raised, right? It's as if it was never raised, because it only went up to match with the growing inflation. So in essence, the wage itself did not go up, right? But anyway, so as I say, whatever reason it is that them steal these for right now, don't really matter right now, because when this famine actually hits, and it will hit, all over the scriptures it tells us there will be a famine, and if you check current events, if you check certain YouTube channels like the epic economist, Christian Green, Christian, from the channel called ICH Farmer, right? He always goes into certain things that that are things that are leading up to a famine, things that threaten the security of food worldwide, and Jamaica is a part of the world. So if it effectively, Jamaica will also be hit by that famine, right? And just for sure an example of that not being something that's far-fetched, because when the shortage of conductor chips happened, that actually affected the market out here in Jamaica in terms of getting certain technology, right? When the supply chain crisis took place, that also affected Jamaica as well, right? Now we have the war in Ukraine will take place, and that itself will again affect Jamaica, right? Now let me just get a brief look at an article, right? It says, this is from the, I believe this is the Observer. Yeah, this is from the Observer. Not reading the entire article. Let me just go up and get the name, the heading. It says, brace yourself, the impact of the Ukraine-Russia crisis on Jamaica. And this was from March 8th, all right, 2022. All right, and I just want to read this part. It says Jamaica trades heavily with the EU, that's the European Union, and as a result our economy will experience increased prices in imports and gas. Hence the overall cost of living will be impacted. Let me repeat that again. Hence the overall cost of living will be impacted, right? Because when the price of certain things go up, and you have to take into consideration as well that a lot of things that we consume out here in Jamaica is not necessarily made in Jamaica, right? Even the most popular brands, right? A lot of their products are not made or manufactured in Jamaica, right? So we have to take this into consideration as well, right? It says, hence the overall cost of living will be impacted, right? So when it comes to importing those things that are not made in Jamaica, one, they will significantly increase in price, right? So it's either we pay more for them or we don't buy those things. You know, we try buy the cheaper things them, right? Continuing the article, is additionally the looming closure of UC Rusal Windalco has raised uncertainty among employees, and if the closure occurs, the impact will be felt in the economy. Therefore, the Jamaican government must consider mechanisms to limit the impact through sound economic policies that will ease the burden on Jamaicans who could not have prepared for this international crisis, right? And this is sounding very much like the CBDC, right? As I can see, the other day they're going to be rolling it out starting April. We're already in April, June, between April June, right? And as I said, them already start introduce the whole link, LYNK, the link app, and the Jamdex CBDC, right? So these things are already being slowly integrated into society, right? And this also sounds like the limit the go back to, it says, therefore the Jamaican government must consider mechanisms to limit the impact through sound economic policies that will ease the burden on Jamaicans who could not have prepared for this international crisis with its corresponding local effects, right? So this can lead to anything, whether it be a national income system where where people basically just get money from the government for sustain for a while, stimulus basically, or them go the crypto way, you see me, with the Jamdex scene, and even it can go even as far as rationing, you see me, it can go as far as rationing, you see me. You can buy certain amount of goods, right? You can't spend certain amount of money for buy certain things, especially things that are not so abundantly available, right? Now let me just jump into the scriptures, because I've been talking for a while. This is Isaiah, no, Salakia. One second, mark for this video. Oh, okay. Isaiah 3:1. It says, Isaiah 3:1, it says, for behold, The Lord of hosts doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. Right? So going back to the video that was started with, according to prophecy, right? According to prophecy, this thing will come to pass, right? That way you see, it a go be even more chaotic than what you see, right? It's not going to be a matter where somebody a go video you a thief, or video somebody a thief, or someone stealing, right? And and having fun about it. No, it's not gonna be like that, right? When the famine hits, it's going to be chaotic, right? People are gonna literally dead. People are gonna literally kill people for food, right? People will literally be killing people for food, yo. No matter what it be, I coulda a tin of bully beef, I coulda bread back, right? That it's gonna come to that scene. So look here, this is second is just 15 and 19, right? It says verse 18, right? It says, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Right? So one of the things that we're gonna cause chaos, anarchy in the streets, is the lack of bread. People not being able to find food to feed them families. See, this is another article. Please load. This is another article here, right? From Forbes. Just I can read this top part here. It says the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, ERS. Right, it says, see, COVID-19 update and impacts on food insecurity. Report released in January 2021 reveals that 12.8% of the Jamaican population is currently food insecure, equating to some 400,000 people, right? So just imagine 400,000 people right now not being able to provide for their families, not being able to not being able to afford certain things, not being able to afford food. What you think them people they are gonna do, right? Just imagine 400,000 people rioting, seeing. Imagine 400,000 people having forgot the hard route, right? Or the wicked way, basically. You see me? Basically having to get physical in order for can find food. See, that's a lot of people, right? It says this is double pre-COVID USDA projections, and an increase of 100,000 persons over revised projections made during the pandemic. It says prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the USDA ERS released preliminary projections that 200,000 Jamaicans would be food insecure by the end of 2020. So basically what they're saying is that they did a projection, or like a a prediction, for lack of a better word, that 200,000 people would be affected by the pandemic, right? But after the pandemic, that projection was doubled, seen, and it came known that 400,000 people approximately were food insecure due to the pandemic. Seen, and we literally just left off of the tail of the we still left on the tail of the pandemic basically, you know what I mean, and now we have the crisis in Russia take place right now. Seen, so that little 400,000 or that little insecurity right there has not properly recovered. Seen, so it's just one thing after the other, and you can, these things show you, say, oh look, we're heading into the famine, right? We're heading into the famine again. As we say, oh, most things that we consume out here in Jamaica is imported, you know what I mean, and if the ports get locked off due to the war probably escalating a little further than where it is right now, or the fact that Russia is basically having a standoff where Putin wants the European nations to actually start buying their natural gas in rubles instead of US dollars, you know what I mean. If this happens, then that means super inflation for America, you know what I mean, and that itself can also affect a lot of other countries when that happens to America. Yeah, see, so yeah, ultimately, as we say, this thing is going to be widespread. It's not just gonna be a one or two persons, you know, stealing rice or corned beef or widespread.
It's a serious.
You know, stores,
It's a serious. It's a third year.
You know, and such being burned down, destroyed. That's what's gonna happen. Seen, there will be total anarchy in the streets. As the scripture says, as a matter of fact, let me just read it again. 2 Ezra 15 and 19, it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but they shall destroy their houses with the sword. Seen? So, right, so you're gonna have people are running from people, are running a people house with the determination, say, oh look, if it's either kill or be killed. See, it's either I get this food or them kill me or me kill them. See, that's the notion, that is how this thing are gonna take place. Yeah. It says, but with the sword, it says, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. See, this is Isaiah. Not Isaiah. Go back to the list. Alright, so this is Ezekiel 4 and 16. It says, moreover, he said unto me, son of man. Son of man, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure. Right. So yeah, the government more than likely will try to prevent this early on, you know what I mean, but them the measures them what them are gonna take are gonna only hold it back for so long. It are gonna only hold back the chaos for so long, yo. Right? Right, it says, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care. Right, so yeah, right, it will come to a point where one slice of bread probably have to go serve you for the whole day, yo. See, that's how it is. That's how it will be. And they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. that they may want bread and water, and be astonished one with another, and consume away for their iniquity. Right, and even water itself will be affected, you know what I mean? Because especially from the whole Russian Ukraine crisis, you know what I mean? Because yeah, the water supply out here, you know what I mean, it actually needs, unless people are gonna go to the rivers, and there's only so much rivers in Jamaica, right? And only so many people have access to these rivers. See, out in the cities, there's no access to rivers in the cities, yo. Just gullies and drains, right? So yeah, once once it come to a point where getting, what you call it, once it come to a point where Jamaica's fuel system is affected, then greatly affected, you know, because it's already been affected right now. And I mean, recently the National Water Commission announced that certain areas are gonna have frequent water lockoffs, you know what I mean, due to the ongoing crisis. You know what I mean? The feed company, right, that make animal feed, distribute animal feed, you know what I mean, they have been affected by this as well. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the grain used comes from Europe as well. Seeing what else? The electricity, right? Electricity will also be affected because gas is needed to run these resources, you know, the water and the electricity, right? The gas is needed for those. Ezekiel 5:16, it says, when I shall send upon them the evil, verse 15, right? It says, so it shall be a reproach and a taunt and instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgments in thee in anger and in fury, and in furious rebukes I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Right, and don't forget that all of this is going into the time of Jacob's trouble. You know what I mean? All of these things that these famines, pestilences, wars, you know, tribulation, all of this at the time of Jacob's trouble. All of this marks the time of Jacob's trouble, right? And more. All these things and more. You know what I mean? Because, hey, we even going spirits who are going to come and plague people on earth, yo. You know, but that's for another video. Seeing? Execute judgments in thee, in anger and in fury and in furious rebukes, I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Right? And yeah, ultimately, you know, all of this is for the punishment of all people, right? Because of the disobedience. Seen, right? Jamaicans would like to think that they are one of the most blessed nations among the Caribbean, or among the world, or within the world. You know what I mean? But not blessed, not so. It's not so, right? Because everything with them people out here, and the scripture say, oh, them choose that which the Most High delight not in, right? So therefore the time of Jacob's trouble have to come for these people to get punished, yo. See? Verse 16 is, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. So will I send famine upon you, and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. You know, so with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying. You know, I would say nothing deep, nothing major, just for add to that video, you know what I mean, and for point out that hey, this that is happening here, you know, is gonna be more widespread and more chaotic, more violence. But again, as I say, hopefully this video was edifying. I want to say all praises to you. How about Shemya Oshai, Shemya Kakodash, double honors to the apostles of Graven Stone, and shalom to the Aki. I'm pushing this word, sincerity and truth.